Welcome to my beginner series. I am so glad you're here. Whether this is your first yoga class or your first yoga class after a while, this will be a great way to get back into things. We are going to start today in child's pose. So come to your mat. Big toes come to touch. Knees are as wide as you'd like them. They can be as wide as the mat, or your knees can be touching. Hips are back on your heels. And slowly walk yourself forward one hand at a time. If you like to rest your forehead to the mat, you can. If the mat seems too far away, you can fold up your forearms. So, find your way there. Connect with your breath. Moving from thinking into feeling. Yoga is about the connection of movement and breath. So you'll notice today that I'll cue an inhale and an exhale throughout class. So be mindful of that and be really gentle with yourself. Part of yoga too is understanding your body for where it's at today. So please don't compare to anyone else. Do what feels good for you. And honor yourself with where you're at. Nice deep inhale and exhale all through your nose. Settling into your hips. Bring your awareness inward. On your next inhale, start to rise up onto hands and knees for tabletop pose. So knees are directly underneath the hips and our hands are directly underneath our shoulders. Our tailbone isn't swaying up or down, it's nice and neutral. We'll take this into cat and cow from here. So for your cow pose, drop the belly, curl tailbone up, shine your chest forward, look up, feel a little pulling of the palms of your hands towards your knees, arch your back, and then exhale round for your cat pose. So pull your belly button in, press through the palms. Think about bringing your chin to your chest, tailbone tucks under, so we're rounding. Back to cow, drop the belly, lift the gaze, curl tailbone up. Pull your shoulder blades down your back, look up, exhale round. You can move back and forth here at your own pace. Cat and cow is something we'll take all the time in vinyasa classes. So get comfortable with this, play around with what pace feels good for you. Just checking back in with your alignment, making sure your knees and your hands stay directly underneath your hips and shoulders. Connecting with your breath here. And on your next inhale, let's meet in tabletop pose, so that neutral spine. We're going to come into a side plank variation called gate pose. So shift the weight into your right hand and your right knee. Your right leg's going to turn out, and we're going to come to the inside of our left foot. So the weight is totally supported by these three limbs. Left arm reaches up for gate pose. Feel your left back leg planted and strong. So feel your kneecap lift up, your quad engage. And if you can balance here with no issues, left arm reaches over the ear for a side body stretch. Shine your chest up and open. Breathe. Checking back in. Feel your side body get a little bit longer. Press your foot into the mat a little bit more if you can. Open up. And on your next inhale, coming back to tabletop pose, the opposite way we came in. Left knee plants, right foot comes back in. Changing sides, so shift the weight into the left hand, left knee. Left shin turns out a little bit. Weights in the left hand, right inner foot plants and is straight. Right arm lifts up, gate pose. So there's a little bit of alignment that happens in gate pose, but it's really a simple way to get into a side plank shape. So this will strengthen your obliques, Over time, you'll be able to put your left leg straight as well, so to get into your full side plank. So this is really just a starter for that. Let's take our right arm over our ear, coming into that side body stretch. You might notice one side is different from the other. Very, very common. No two sides are ever alike. And yoga attempts to even that out. So keyword is attempts. My body's still getting there. Stretch a little bit longer through your fingertips. Press the outer edge of your foot down. And come back, tabletop pose. Walk your hands a little bit forward, so our hands are about maybe one hand forward from where we were before. Shift your hips down, and we're coming into a knee plank. So if you're pretty athletic, you can take this right into your high plank. But if you're newer, just stay on your knee plank. Squeeze your elbows in towards your side body like grasshopper wings, and lower all the way to your belly, nice and slow, using the strength of your triceps. Once you get down, realign your hands directly underneath your shoulders. Engage your legs all the way from the glutes to the toes, so much that your kneecaps are lifting up off the ground. Inhale, start to arch your back up, lift your upper body off the ground, squeeze your shoulder blades in for baby cobra. So you might not come up very high. This requires a lot of back strength. We're not using any strength from the hand. So this is all back strength for baby cobra. So just arch your upper body up. Imagine a cobra snake. Keep your legs strong. Look up and release. One more time. Lift up, baby cobra, lifting from the upper body. So chest is off the ground, shoulder blades squeeze in, elbows squeeze in, and release. This time, press into the palms, coming back through that knee plank pose. Back to tabletop. And we'll set up for our first down dog. So you can keep your hands where they are from our knee plank, so a little bit more forward. Tuck the toes under, and we're going to lift our hips up and back for downward facing dog. So your heels might be really high off the ground. They might come directly down, just depending on how open your hamstrings are. No worries either way. Eventually, with gravity and over time, your heels will get to the mat. So no sweat if you're way up on your toes. Press your chest forward, like you want to press your chest towards your thighs. Curl your tailbone up like we did for cow pose. Pull your belly button in, press through the hands. And breathe. Look forward between your hands, and ever so slowly baby step your way all the way to the top of your mat. Take all the time you need. We're going to meet in a forward fold. So if you're new and you have tight hamstrings, I highly recommend blocks. You can find a nice flat back in your fold, and you can bring the floor up to you. Assuming you don't have blocks, bring your hands to your shins. You do want to keep somewhat of a flat back here. So if you're having some crazy rounding, be mindful of that. That can be more harmful than good. So check in here. If you're noticing any pain in the spine, your body's telling you back off. So find your fold wherever you're at. You will have some rounding in a fold, but try to find some flatness there. Coming into half lift, which is where we have that perfectly flat back. Body looks like an upside down letter L. And we'll rise all the way up, completely straight. Arms touch overhead, gaze is up, high mountain. Hands to heart center, hands at our side for mountain pose. Inhale, arms reach all the way out and up, palms touch above head. And dive forward with a flat back, nice and slow for your forward fold. Half lift, hands can be on the shins, blocks, whatever is accessible for you, or if you're super bendy, maybe your fingertips are on the ground. fold. Step back 1 foot at a time into down dog. And we'll take a modified vinyasa. So we're going to come forward through to our knee plank. So lower your knees to the ground. Bring your chest forward. Maybe scoot your blocks out of the way. And we're going to lower for that baby cobra. So squeeze your elbows in. Come all the way down to your mat. Fingertips underneath the shoulders. Legs are strong. Lift up, baby cobra. Squeeze your elbows in. Exhale, release. Push back through knee plank or high plank if you're feeling ready for it. And then back to tabletop pose. Keep the hands there. Tuck the toes under, down dog. Nice work. So we'll take vinyasas, obviously, all the time in vinyasa yoga, and we'll progress that forward. So that was a modified vinyasa, but great work. Inhale, look forward, baby step your way up to the top of the mat again. And take a forward fold, just like we did before. In your forward fold, make sure your knees over your ankle, hips are over the knees. So a lot of times people will hyperextend the knees and get this bowing up the legs. Checking in with your alignment, make sure the knees and ankles are stacked, and you can bend them as much as you need. So you might even feel like your chest rests on your thighs. That's perfectly okay. This is about healing the body, not pushing the body past its capability and damaging our spine or joints. Inhale, half lift, gaze forward. Rise all the way up with a flat back, palms touch above head, high mountain, look up, hands at heart center. I'm going to face you. We're going to take tree pose. So stay where you're at on your mat. I just want to give you more visibility. Shift the weight into your left leg. We're going to start to lift our right foot off the ground. So you can bring it just to your ankle for now. If that feels good, you can bring it to your calf. Knees pointing out. You're actually pushing your left foot and right heel into one another. That's how you find the stability. If you can balance here, you can catch a hold of the right ankle and plant the foot to the inside of the left thigh. We don't want to plant it on the left knee. So we want to stay away from the joints in tree pose. To balance, you are pressing the leg and foot into one another. So this is very active. Hands can come to heart center. Or you can have tree branches waving in the wind. That's a little more advanced. Keep them at heart center for now. And look at something that's not moving. That's called a drishti gaze. That will help you to balance and find some stability. Tailbone's tucked under, belly button pulls in, core is strong, and breathe. Go ahead, release your tree on your right side. Repeat on the left. So taking any variation of tree that felt right for you today. So weights in the right foot. Left heel can come to the right ankle. We can just balance there. Not using any pressure in this variation, just more for balance. You can bring the left foot to the right calf. Pushing the calf and foot into one another to balance. Or you can bring it all the way up to your right thigh. You can use the help of your hands, get the foot up there. And push the thigh and foot into one another to stabilize. If you're feeling ready, hands can come to heart center, or you can keep one hand on the ankle if you need, just for stability, whatever works. Look at something that's not moving, something on the floor, maybe 4 feet in front of you. Belly button in, chest lifts, breathe, and exhale, release your tree. I'll meet you back at the top of our mat. Reach our arms out and up, palms touch above head, and dive forward with that flat back. So stick your booty out here. Hands plant, fold. One foot steps back. The other one meets it for down dog. All right. Look forward. This time, step your right foot in between the palms as much as you can. If you can't get it there, use the help of your hand to move it up. Back knee lowers. So coming into just a low lunge. Rise up one handprint at a time. And hips push forward and down. gaze is directly forward. Make sure your spine feels nice and straight here. This might feel like a really intense stretch in your hips. If it does, you're doing it right. Nice work. If it's too much, back off. If you're having trouble just balancing like this, you can use blocks, or maybe there's a wall beside you to hold on to. To balance, you are kind of pulling into center with both legs. So feel like your right knee and left thigh are pulling in to stabilize you. Shoulder blades up and down the back. And of course, try to look at something that's not moving. Nice low lunge. Really great for the hips, especially if you sit or drive a lot. Your hips are just so happy right now. Hands can frame the right foot and try to step back to dog. Just lift the right foot off the ground and go right back down dog if you can. If not, meet me in dog, however is good for you. And we'll change sides. So look forward. Left foot steps in between the hands if it can. Again, using the help of your hands to scooch it up if needed. Right knee is down. One hand at a time, come up onto that left knee. Hips are pushing forward and down. Square up the hips here. And you can use your blocks on your sides if you have them. If not, no sweat if you're coming out of the pose. But a great way to balance is using that internal pulling in. So feel your left knee and right thigh like you're pulling in towards one another, like you're trying to squeeze a block in between them. That will help you stabilize here, all while pushing forward and down, lifting your chest up, shoulder blades down the back, and breathing, eyes open. Keeping your eyes open in balancing poses helps a lot. This isn't technically a balancing pose, but it can be hard to stabilize here in the beginning, so no worries. Hands frame the left foot. We're going to step back to down dog. Last down dog today. Notice if it's different in the beginning of class. You'll be getting really well acquainted with down dog through Vinyasa, so get comfortable here. Go ahead, lower to your tabletop pose. And just sit back on your hips and swing your legs out in front of you for a seated staff pose. Sit up nice and tall and reach your arms out in front of you. We're going to lower all the way to our back and take a back bend and a twist. So lower down nice and slow, using the strength of your belly. Go as slow as you can till your lower back, middle back, upper back all come to the floor, and finally your head. Bend your knees and plant your feet in as close to the hips as you can. Make sure they're about 6 inches wide. Lift your hips up for bridge pose. So bridge is a back bend. Feel your body weight totally in the heels here, so it's not in the toes, and feel your heels pulling in towards your shoulders. Lift the hips up a little bit higher. A lot of glute strength in bridge pose, but no straining in the neck. So if there's any pain in the neck, please be careful. Make sure you're breathing. Lift up a little bit higher. Squeeze your glutes, squeeze your knees back in so they're not splaying open. So think 2 ankles, 2 knees, 2 hips, 2 shoulders, all in one line in your bridge pose. Exhale, release. Bring your knees up to tabletop. So there's a tabletop on your back as well. So your knees are bent at a 90-degree angle. Arms out to a T. So you probably can't look at me at this point, so open your ears. We're going to start to drop our knees all the way over to the right. So taking this in a twist. So knees are stacked, dropping them to the right. Arms are still at a T for a spinal twist. You can start to take the gaze to the left, just a cherry on top of the twist. And if you'd want, you could take your right hand to those knees to push them down and kind of ground them a little bit. You can close your eyes on the twist. No balancing happening here. Pull your belly button in. And come back through center. Changing sides, so tabletop with the shins. So shins are parallel, arms at a T. And drop the shins down to the left. this time. So just the opposite way. Gaze is to the right. Your left hand can ground your shins, so just putting them on top of the knees or thigh. Belly button pulls in. Noticing if one side's different than another. That's really, really common. For me, really on all sides, I notice a difference. There's not one pose where I notice it's the same on both sides. So let me know if you notice any differences. Float your knees back up through center and straighten your legs directly out in front of you for shavasana, corpse pose. Arms in by your side, head is heavy. Release. Close your eyes. Stay here as long as you like. I'd like to thank you so much for practicing with me today. I really hope you picked up a few pointers for your Vinyasa Flow early on. Come back to this video a few times before progressing to part 2, which will be linked directly after this video, so you can easily follow along. Namaste, yogis.